Sir, in another 50 seconds, we'll start, sir.
Training. He's saying the clock is running.
$20 seconds, sir.
Phone lo put. Again, better. Click on the display.
Good morning, everybody. I welcome you to the 30th Annual General Meeting of Igarashi Motors India. This meeting is being held through video conference in accordance with the circulars issued by Ministry of Corporate Affairs and SEBI. For safety reasons, each of us is at a different location. I am attending this meeting from my residence at Mumbai. Mr. Igarashi.
Yes, this is Haruo Igarashi from Kawasaki, Japan. I received all the document and I'm alone in this room. Thank you very much.
Mr. Ramkumar, our independent director, Mr. Ramkumar.
Hello.
Yes. Can you just raise your hand, please, so that everyone sees? Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Hi.
Hi, thank you.
Yeah.
Miss S.M. Minodini, independent woman director. Yeah, Ms. Minodini, please. Okay. Mr. Thomas McGo. Mr. Thomas McGo.
Hello.
Yeah. Mr. Dinakar Badu, company secretary. Hi, Tom. Welcome. Thank you. Mr. R. Chandrasekharan, managing director of the company.
Yeah, I'm a register officer.
Yeah, thank you. And Mr. S. Vivekachandra, CFO.
I'm an officer.
Yes, thank you. Apart from this, we have senior management, Mr. P. Govindaraju, Chief Operating Officer, joining from the. Thank you. Mr. Harsh Lakhotia, Partner, Statutory Auditors, BSR and Company. Mr. C. Prabhakar, Partner, BP Associates, Secretary Auditor and Scrutinizer for e-voting. And Ms. Sophia Cameo, Corporate Services, RTA, have also joined the meeting through video conferencing. We have the requisite quorum present through video conference to conduct the proceedings of this meeting. Participation of the members through video conference is being reckoned for the purpose of quorum as per the circulars issued by MCA and Section 103 of Companies Act 2013. The quorum being present, I call this meeting to order. I now request Babu, Company Secretary, to provide general instructions to the members regarding participation in this meeting. Mr. Babu, please.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, everyone. Members may note that this AGM is being held through video conference in accordance with the circulars issued by MCA and SEBI. Facility for joining this meeting through video conference is made available to the members on a first-come, first-served basis. The register of directors and the register of contracts have been made available electronically for inspection by the members during the AGM. As the AGM is being held through video conference, the facility for appointment of proxies by the members is not applicable, and hence the proxy register is not available for inspection. Members are requested to refer the instructions given in the notice for a seamless participation through video conference. The AGM webcasting link has already been placed at the company's website, www.igarashi.com. igarashimotors.com. Now I hand over back to the chairman.
Thank you, Babu. The company has taken all feasible efforts under the current circumstances to enable members to participate through video conference and vote at this AGM. I thank all the members, colleagues on the board, auditors, and the management team for joining this meeting over video conference. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, once again. I will now deliver my annual speech. It gives me a great pleasure once again to welcome you all to this 30th annual general meeting of Igarashi Motors India Limited. I am aware that all of us would have liked to meet and address each other in person. But as you are all aware, we are again holding this meeting over a virtual platform due to ongoing conditions. During the financial year 21-22, which was an incredibly challenging year due to new variants of COVID-19 pandemic and many other global forces to grapple with, we were faced with unprecedented challenges while the business environment had shrunk due to supply chain disruptions arising out of geopolitical unrest and rising inflation. Accordingly, our key focus areas were securing the safety and well-being of our people and ensuring continuity of business operations. Gradually, with the recovery in economic activities and demand, we focused on significantly ramping up to fulfill our customer demand across the world. The global automotive industry is suffering from several challenges during the second half of the year, including supply chain and logistic bottlenecks, semiconductor and raw material shortages, resulting in scaling down the OEM production schedules and commodity price escalations. From financial perspective, for past 2 years have tested the resilience of the business at the unprecedented level. Despite pandemic, supply chain disruption, and semiconductor shortage issues, I am happy to inform you that the revenue we posted during the year was marginally more than the previous year. We have a strong track record and over 2 decades of experience in torque actuator motors for electronic throttle control applications. We are now focused in expanding our wings and foray into new applications such as exhaust gas recirculation motor, variable turbine geometry motor, coolant control valve, and exhaust flap actuator segment. Demand for such applications is increasing due to stringent emission norms for conventional and hybrid variants across the globe. Simultaneously, we are deploying emerging technology agnostic offerings, for example, 2W TAM and electric parking brake, by leveraging our high-end manufacturing capabilities. We are in the growth phase of the BLDC motor platform for ceiling fans. All the Indian fan manufacturers are gearing up with the BLDC variants to tap the market opportunities stemming from transition to energy efficient standards, paving way for a growth in the organized sector. We are also working on launching motors for pedestal fans and air coolers, which demonstrate strength of our motor manufacturing capabilities and will position us as a full service suppliers to various BLDC fan original equipment manufacturers. Further, we are focusing to roll out EV motors suitable for two-wheelers and three-wheeler electric vehicles. The FY 2023 outlook is looking still quite difficult in terms of geopolitical tension in combination with new COVID, lockdowns in China, and also new variants. Supply chain issues, especially semiconductor chip shortages, are gradually improving, benefiting domestic as well as export PV sales. The BLDC fan market shows promising growth. Our consistent efforts to strengthen our core capabilities, launch new technology platforms, and diversify product applications for global and Indian automotive segments make us well positioned to drive sustained high growth. I would like you to join me in complimenting the company's management team and all our employees for their dedication and commitment. As always, I am extremely grateful to you, dear shareholders, for your continued support and confidence in the company. I would also like to thank all our colleagues on the board for their very useful contributions in these trying times to support the company. I wish you and your families all the best. Stay healthy, stay safe. As the notice is already circulated to all the members, I take the notice convening the meeting as read. Before we proceed, I am pleased to bring to your notice that the company has provided you all the facilities to cast your vote electronically on all resolutions set forth in the notice. Members may please note that there will be no voting by show of hands. We now take the resolution as set forth in the notice. We will open the floor for questions by members after all the resolutions are tabled. The following are the businesses to be transacted at the meeting. Resolution number 1 in the ordinary business, adoption of audited statutory financial accounts for year ending March 31st, 2022 and the reports of Board of Directors and Auditors. Number 2, appointment of Mr. Hemant Nerurkar, who retires by rotation and being eligible seeks reappointment. Number 3, reappointment of Messrs. BSR and Company Chartered Accountants as a statutory auditors for next 5 years. Reappointment of special business. Reappointment of Mr. R. Chandrasekharan as Managing Director of the company for the next 5 years, from October 1st, 2022 to September 30th, 2027. Appointment of Mr. Haruo Igarashi as Director. Appointment of Mr. Thomas Francis McEgo as a Director. Approval of material-related party transactions with Igarashi Electric Motors Japan. Ratification of remuneration payable to BY Associates for cost auditors of the company. The auditor's report is not required to be read as there are no qualifications, comments, or observations. Coming to the secretarial auditor's report is not required to be read as there are no qualification, comments, or observations. Shareholders' queries and suggestions on the company's accounts and businesses will be taken up now. I now request Babu, Company Secretary, to provide general instructions to the members regarding Q&A and Mr. Chandrasekhar, Managing Director, to respond to the queries. Over to you, Mr. Babu.
Thank you, sir. Dear shareholders, before we go live with the Q&A, here are some points to note for your convenience. Kindly turn on your video when you are projected on the broadcast screen. Kindly unmute yourself and proceed to ask the question. Please mention your name and the location from where you are joining the meeting. Each shareholder will have 3 minutes for their questions. Once you have asked your question, you can log off and continue to watch the proceedings. To avoid repetition, all the questions will be replied at the end. The company has received requests from few members to register them as speakers at the meeting. Moderator will unmute the respective shareholders. Now we request Mr. V. Rangan, DPID IN 3000441, client ID 102373000, to unmute yourself and kindly proceed with the question. Rangan, sir?
Able to hear me, sir? Hello.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead, sir.
Congratulations. I think we are in the worst time ever Igarashi had. No doubt the share price is at 345 rupees. It shows the strength. So I congratulate, but don't be loose in heart about that. But definitely you can always find some other means. This is the worst period I think we are undergoing. So this is the time the shareholders should support, and the market knows everything, that it is able to appreciate that. Because of the market capitalization is so much and the share price is steadily there, it shows that inherent strength of the company. So I wish all the best. It is always like that. I think this current year also will be 9 months will be like this only. The last quarter only will be better. Thank you. Nothing else.
Thank you,
Mr.
Mr.
Rangan. Yeah, Babu.
Thank you, sir. Now we have a question coming in from the next shareholder, Mr. Samir Jitendra Javeri, DPID 120247000, client ID 0047830. Sir, please go ahead with your question.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
We can hear you, sir.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm speaking from my home in Mumbai. I have a lot of questions. The first one being that is majority or almost all of our business related to four-wheelers? And while auto passenger vehicle sales have yet to peak like of 2018, the demand for TAM should have increased due to larger target addressable market as the norms around emission have changed, expanding the market from ETC to EGR, WGA, VGT, and CCV motors too. However, looking at the company's numbers for the last few years, including our acquisition of Agile Electric, Igarashi seems to be struggling on the revenue front. So what am I missing here? If you could elaborate on that. My second question is, could you explain the product development life cycle and how long does it take to develop a product and how long for validation and then commercialization? My third question is, what are the key raw materials used like steel, copper, aluminum, and what are the proportion in the cost of goods sold? Also, does the semiconductor crisis hit us directly or indirectly, used in some other vehicle parts, but causing delay in the total vehicle manufacturing? In terms of capacity, how many motors can we produce annually? And what is our current capacity utilization? And how has the utilization moved over the last 5 years? The annual report mentions the disruption from China has caused Igarashi Japan to focus on growing business from India and discussions with Japanese tier 1 for the same. Could you elaborate about this and the progress made on this front? Now that the company has been working on BLDC motors for some time, and now that BEE star ratings seem to probably become mandatory from 1st January 2023, when can we expect volumes ramping up? Our current capacity is about 1 million pieces. So at full capacity, what could be the sales from BLDC motors and the kind of EBITDA margins that we can expect from this? Is the technology that rare for OEMs to buy from companies like Igarashi, Versa Drives? Because disrupting companies like Attenberg, for example, are manufacturing motors in-house. So what is the probability of other of our clients doing the same? In FY21, the contribution from BLDC was at 5%. How much was it in FY22? The next question is, what is the arrangement around royalty with Igarashi Japan? And also, since now sales for Igarashi India are mostly routed through Igarashi Japan, is the royalty arrangement required? In other expenses, quality cost expenses are a sizable number. Could you explain what is this cost related to? The next question is, could you explain the ESDM business? What exactly is this business? At 2.5 million units, how much is the peak sales and what margins can we expect from this? Also, is this used for captive purposes in TAM, CAM, and BLDC, or is this completely for supply to end clients? The next question, I'm sorry, I'm going to take a little more than 3 minutes because I have a lot of questions. I've actually been just a comment that if the company can be a little more transparent and probably have quarterly con calls or at least quarterly presentations, because I've been trying to get in touch with the management since the end of May, starting June, and this is my first opportunity that I've got to talk to the management. So, if you could take some of my questions offline because they are more in number, that would be really helpful. Or, if you have an external investor relations team that I can reach out to, that would be really helpful. The next question would be that the latest annual report also mentions about delays in new programs. Could you mention what programs these are and when could they start contributing? And the annual report also mentions about forming new strategic alliances due to recent experiences. Could you elaborate more on this as well? The next question is, do we have long-term agreements in place with clients, thus making it difficult to pass on increase in raw material prices? Generally, what is the duration of contracts and at what intervals are the contract pricing changed? The next question, I just have 4 more left. The next question is, how have Igarashi progressed on building EV traction motors for 2-wheelers and 3-wheelers? Is this only for the domestic market? And any numbers on this as to what we can expect when, by when do you see EV traction motors start contributing to our revenue? And if EV or hydrogen vehicles becomes a big thing in the next 10 years, what happens to our capacity for TAM? Is our TAM capacity fungible? Next question is, the company has spent close to 38 to 40 crores on capital expenditures in FY22. Could you elaborate on what this has been spent on? If hydrogen fuel cells, okay, I've already asked. My last question is, lastly, while Johnson Electric and Mabuchi may be our competition in international markets, who is our competition in domestic markets? Thank you so much for listening so patiently.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Samit Javeri. Thank you.
Now we have a question coming in from the next shareholder, Mr. Anant Shenoy, DPID IN 302-814, client ID 121-195-18. Sir, please proceed with your question.
Good morning, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, please.
Yeah, very much.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for the opportunity, sir. I have sent my questions in advance. So, can you go through them?
Yeah, we have received it. We take it on record and we will reply to your questions, sir. We'll take note of it. Sure, no issues. Thank you.
Okay. You will be answering it here or you will be replying in the email, sir?
No, we will be answering it in the AGM along with the other shareholders' queries. No, I have taken note of your queries that I have received on the platform. Thank you for your interest.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now we have a question coming in from the next shareholder, Mr. Nikhil Upadhyay, DPID IN 300-513, client ID 137-427-99. Please go ahead with your question, sir. Mr. Nikhil Upadhyay.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity, sir, for the AGM and taking my questions. If you can also reply to my questions on the mail as well, that would be even helpful and even answer it over here. So following are my questions. So over the last 5 years, we have seen contribution of the revenue geography for US and Germany going down, while contribution for Japan and Hong Kong have increased. So is that all our earlier export business which used to drive directly is now down through parent entity? And if that's the case, even in future, as a part of Igarashi One program, all export business will be originated by parent and Igarashi India will act as a supplier, or can India also independently win export customers and sell directly from here? If you look at our export revenue, will it be right to say that most of it is export of auto, or there is non-auto export also that we carry out? If there is a scope for non-auto products to parent from India as well, we have large capacity for BLDC motors in India, and it looks like highly underutilized. So we can focus on export to improve utilization, and hence margin profile will expand. What is the revenue mix for us between TAM, BLDC, and others? The other segment is split across how many product categories? TAM market, in TAM segment, what is the split between 4-wheeler and 2-wheeler revenues? Last time in the AGM, you mentioned that 4-wheeler TAM market is 3 million, whereas we have 31% market share. and two-wheeler is 3 million where we have 10% market share. So how would you compare the price differential between the segments for the motors that we supply? Four-wheeler in last AGM we mentioned that by FY26 we aspire to achieve 50% market share in four-wheeler tire market. My question is, in order to achieve this number, how many programs we are currently working on and what more efforts are we putting to achieve this? Two-wheeler in last AGM in two-wheeler we mentioned that the market can grow by 50% by FY26 to 4.5 million units from 3 million currently, and we aim to achieve 50% market share here as well. But in this year we have mentioned annual report that we aim to achieve 15-20% market share. So what are the challenges that we are facing for our market share aspirations? EV, last AGM you mentioned that we were working on various platforms for EV two-wheeler and three-wheeler. If my understanding is correct, the motor per vehicle will increase in case of EV versus ICE. So how does your per vehicle motor concentration changes and how does the pricing change? Also versus ICE in EV motor will need for motor control unit as well. So does that increase our addressable package size in EV and we can leverage BLDC capabilities here? In the annual report, we mentioned we aim to expand our wings and foray into new applications. What gives us the confidence to enter in new segments and be able to break in? What kind of market share aspirations we have in these newer segments? In the line with the above statement, we entered last year in electronic parking sensor, and this year we mentioned about braking sensor and trunk opening and closing device and seat sensors. How large are each one of the opportunities or combined and are product approved with the customers? Also started with initial orders or are we still in approval phase? In auto segment, we enter the manufacturing business lines which are fungible or we are outsourcing and packaging these products. Any guidance that we have? What is our current capacity utilization across auto and non-auto segment, and what are the break-even points for each facility? So in BLDC segment, we mentioned in the last AGM that the price per product will be 1.5 times of induction motors, but what about the cost of production? How does that compare? What is our wallet share for BLDC across Crompton and players like Havels, Polycab, Usha? And hence we have seen any wallet share gains, and in overall BLDC, have we gained any market share? Also for BLDC motors, the total penetration was around 7% last year. What is it now of total fan category? Based on our AGM of last year, it seemed like by FY26 we are very positive to achieve 1,000 crore of revenue at 15-16% EBITDA margin. But this year we have strong under delivery on both top line and bottom line. So if you can just help us understand the reasons for the same and how we aim to course correct against such volatilities. Last year, while our auto business was operating in 15% kind of margins, but for non-auto, as we achieve 150 to 200 kind of run rate, can we operate at the similar margins or their margin profiles can be lower owing to higher competition and less stricter approval process and timeline versus auto? In non-fan and non-auto segment, how is the BLDC motor acceptance happening? How are we seeing the initial orders? Can it be 100 crore kind of market? So I would even like if you can just acknowledge all the questions and reply to that on mail as well, even after answering the questions on the AGM. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Nikhil. We will have this reply during the AGM. We have taken note of your queries.
Thank you, sir. We request next shareholder, Mr. Keshav Garg, DPID IN 3000214, client ID 156466980. Sir, kindly go ahead with your question. Keshav Garg, please.
Sir, thank you for providing me this opportunity. Sir, sir, I have already sent my list of questions to you, so I'll repeat them very quickly. Sir, for FY23, what is the outlook in terms of top line and bottom line? Sir, why has our operating margin declined from 24% in FY18 to 8% in FY22? And sir, what is the expectation for operating profit margin in the present financial year? And also, what is the sustainable operating profit margin going forward? Sir, why are our revenues from automotive division stagnant at around 500 crores since FY17? Sir, are we losing market share or the market itself has contracted? Sir, why our EBITDA is constantly declining from 158 crore in FY18 to 47 crore in FY22? And sir, will in the current financial year, will we be able to again reach 158 crore peak EBITDA that we did in FY18? So what are your capex plans going forward, and also what is your average annual maintenance or replacement capex? So, what percentage of our exports do we get as export incentives, and has there been any change in the same in the past 1 year? So, what is the pricing arrangement that we have with our customers? Do we have a formula based pricing or an annual fixed price contract? Also, sir, whether we are exporting on FOB basis or CIF basis, also whether our capacities are fungible across different products and categories. So do we have any take or pay clause with our customers who have booked our capacity, and if they don't take those orders, then do they compensate us, or the spare capacity burden is on us? So also wanted to understand why our revenues to US have fallen from 12 crore to 7 crore last year. Sir, when will our BLDC division break even? At what revenue will this break even? Sir, also our revenues from our parent has reduced from 70% in FY21 to 54% last year. So what is the reason for this? And in the current year and in future, so what percentage of our revenues are expected to come from our parent? And so what is our peak production capacity in terms of volume and revenue? So what percentage of our revenues is coming from internal combustion engine segment? Sir, is Bosch Electrical Drives India Private Limited a competitor for us? Sir, how does the cost of production in India compare with Igarashi Group's various subsidiaries in other countries? Is the cost of production higher or lower? And are we manufacturing any products in this company which we are the sole suppliers to the group? Sir, that is about it. Sir, thank you very much and best of luck.
Thank you, Keshav. Thank you for the queries. Uh, With this,
We
request
conclude the
Mr.
question session from all the shareholders.
Yeah. So can I now request Mr. Chandrasekhar to address all the queries, please? Mr. Chandrasekhar.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Good morning, shareholders. Thank you for all the interest you have in the company, and we have received a lot of queries across all the verticals. What I'm trying to do would be is I'm going to go vertical versus vertical, so that I'm ensuring that all the queries of the shareholders are answered. First vertical business vertical I would take would be the torque actuation motors. And we had on torque actuation motors, we had 22 queries from 3 shareholders, Samir Javeri, Anand Chennai, and Nikhil Upadhyaya. The first question was more related to why the Igarashi is struggling in terms of the revenue front. Sir, I wish to update you that the global auto industry has been impacted since 2020 due to trade war, Euro 6, BS6 regulations, Brexit, COVID, supply chain crisis, and geopolitical tensions. And since 2018, the light commercial vehicle volume dropped from 93 million in 2018 to 77 million in 2020, and got recovered to 80 million in 2021. With the industry, auto industry market background, now I would like to take the Igarashi performance there. Despite auto slowdown, Igarashi Motors volume in 2018 was 21 million, and which came down in relative to the global slowdown of the auto market. We stabilized at 17 million till 22 across the year. Due to two internal actions that we took it, we expanded the product portfolio in TAM way back in 2018-19 from a just ETC motor to a ETC, EGR, WGV, VGT, and CCV motor market applications. And due to pent-up, the overall actuator volume, we expect to grow to between 23 and 24 million motors per year in the next 3 or 4 years. This is going to happen due to pent-up demand and launch of new programs with global customers and expansion of product portfolio. We are also getting into safety systems like electric parking brake motor, and we expect this TAM motor growth to clock around between 7 to 8% in the next 3 or 4 years. And the question of whether Igarashi has lost market share, no, we have not neither lost market share nor the customers, but only experienced a delay in new programs due to the global slowdown in the automotive industry. Now, going specific to new programs on export four-wheeler, our program team is currently working on 19 programs with 6 customers: Bosch, Pierburg, SBS, IMS, Mando, and Hitachi for exports. And the applications would be ETC, EGR, sound flap, and EPB application. And we have close to RFQ volume of 19 million in the pipeline, with $53 million revenue that would get fructified in the next 4 to 5 years time frame. The SOP of these programs is expected to fall between FY23 to FY25. Now I move to domestic four-wheeler. Post the BS6 government regulation during 2020, our program and engineering team have been engaging with various customers, Bosch, Dell'Auto, PVNA, TEL, and others, and we have grown from zero volume in 2020 to 2.2 million in 2022, realizing 49 crores of revenue, representing 40% market share in the domestic four-wheeler TAM market. Our program team is working on 10 new programs with 4 customers for a cumulative volume of 3 million, yielding a potential revenue of 8 million in next 3 to 4 years. The SOP range for these motors, for these programs, is between FY23 to FY25, and we see with the domestic platform market for auto growing, our motor share CAGR for the domestic market, we expect a CAGR of 18%, and we look at the market capturing 5 million motors in the next 5 years. Addressing domestic two-wheeler market, post BS6 norm government regulation, there has been a shift from carburetor system to electronic throttle valve system, especially in vehicles which are more than 150 cc. The ETV adoption in two-wheeler vehicles is yet to mature, considering the commercials of the old system. The overall two-wheeler 150 cc market is only 2 million, and at Igarashi we have expanded the four-wheeler motor to a two-wheeler TAM by tuning the torque, and we are working with domestic customer Dell'Auto, Flash, UCAL, and Vitasco, and have realized 0.2 million, representing 10% share in the volume, which is likely to grow in excess of 1 million in next 4 years. We expect the industry to transit from electric solenoid solutions to ETV solutions to meet efficiency as per BS6 regulations in the coming years. Our engineering desk is also in discussion with Hitachi to explore ETV applications in less than 150 cc two-wheeler segment to realize further potential increase in volume. Moving to the other new programs that we have in Igarashi engineering team have identified opportunities. We are just trying to neutralize the risk of the IC engine. We have identified electric parking brake, EVP, and TOCD programs, which can be used both for ICV, hybrid, and EV application. On EPB application, EPB is increasingly becoming a common additional feature in the passenger vehicle segment. replacing handbrake. And EPB is common for both ICE as well as hybrid and BEV technology. And currently 2 EPB motors are used per car, and the market is around 45 million. The current motor lines of Igarashi, now we can adopt now for the EPB with a program with a marginal investment. And we already are working with 5 global customers: IMS Gear, Mando, Hitachi, and domestic customer PVNA and TEL for a commercial launch of SOP in FY25. The cumulative RFQ volume today, what we have on hand, is around 10.5 million motors. Moving to the new program, electric vacuum pump. This is used in braking system for generation of vacuum in the vacuum brake booster. Our engineering and program teams are in discussion with UCAL in India, LR globally, in developing motors for the EVP program. Trunk opening and closing device motor. The Igarashi overseas leads the TOCD application in the global market, and Indian platform is now being offered to renowned players both export and domestic market as a part of China Plus One strategy. Being a new program, it will take a couple of years because it has to go through a product development and validation cycle as per the auto industry norms. And there was a question on TAM Motors share, how much share is ETC and the others. Currently, ETC share in the TAM Motor segment is 85%, and EGR, WGA and VGT, we are at 15% today. And this proportion of 15%, we expect to increase it to 27% in next 4 years. And regarding the pricing and profitability on this, since TAM motor platform is common for all segments, ETC, EGR, WGA, there is very minor design changes that is being taken due to the mounting scheme and the operation cycle. So we don't see any significant price change in the product or in the margin. And whether the blend of ethanol will have no effect on TAM products or applications. Coming to capacity utilization on the TAM segment. Currently, overall TAM capacity, we have 39 million in 2-shift operation, comprising for all series of motor line like 36 series, 34, 29, 28 and 25. These are various series of motor lines we offer to the customers. All these capacities are fungible within the series lines, and we can always funge it between the products with minor investments. And our capacity utilization is 44%, and this is due to global automotive slowdown. The normal realizable capacity will be in the range of between 70 and 80% of the installed capacity. The gross realizable revenue that can come out of the current capacity will be to the tune of 700 crores. The investment in capex for TAM will be towards maintenance, upgradation and automation to meet specific product requirement and improve productivity and quality. Now getting to commodities that goes into the TAM motor, the steel and copper content of in the motor BOM is around 21%, and the company has a commodity pass-through mechanism with all customers on off-yearly basis. The import content in the BOM is over 85%. I think with this, I have answered all the queries that relates to the TAM motor segment. Now I move on to the brushless DC motor segment. I have got 16 queries received from 4 shareholders: Mr. Samir Javeri, Mr. Anand Shenoy, Nikhil Upadhyaya, and Keshav Gar. Sir, BLDC as a part of electric motors with energy efficient appliance, we have launched BLDC program in November 19 with anchor customer Crompton. Till FY22, Igarashi has populated over 750k units using RF remote. Now, we have been recognized as a reliable BLDC solution partner by all the top leaders in the fan industry. The BAS star rating standards transitions becomes effective from July 22. The government has announced it, and the fan manufacturers have no alternative from January 23 onwards. For any 4 or 5-star rated fans, they require a BLDC technology to take it. So that way we see a good demand from the industry, and it is expected that the demand will cross 10 million pieces by FY24. Igarashi Motors is currently is currently the lead supplier for Crompton for their HS Enzo, Stylus, Blossom, Rover and Hyperjet models. And for Avels, we have 8 standard models and 2 super premium models. And VGuard, we work for 2 models. And GM Electra, 1 model and 1 program. Our program desk is in discussion with other key OEM suppliers, Orient and Bajaj. So getting to BLDC market size, the market size 0.6 million in FY22 is likely to go to 23 million by FY27 against the ceiling fan market of 65%. This is a very conservative estimate, sir. And Igarashi is confident of taking 25% of the BLDC market in the coming years through various fan brands based on the strength of motor manufacturing capability and also the know-how in developing the BLDC ceiling fan solution. Your company has diversified the customer portfolio and have catered to the market requirement, including standard models, premium and super premium models with integrated IoTs and light solutions. We also offer tailor-made solutions for mass adoptions based on the customer requirement. Our engineering and program team are also working on other applications for the BLDC solution in terms of TPW fan, desert coolers, water pumps, and the BLDC platform is offered either as a full fan or a motor assembly or an electronic solution to our customers. BLDC revenue. Igarashi revenue from BLDC in FY22 was 55 crores against 29 crores in FY21, and it is likely to grow to 140 crores in FY23 this year, and we expect to cross over 300 crores in FY24. Capacity. Current BLDC motor capacity is 1.25 million in 2-shift operation, and the ESDM facility we have 2 million in 3 shifts. The gross revenue realizable from these capacity today is 185 crores. Igarashi will incur additional capacity of 9.5 crores in FY23 for additional 1.25 million capacity in BLDC motor line and 2 million in ESDM meat line to meet the customer demand for FY24. The capacity utilization in BLDC motor will be around 80% in FY24, and the overall revenue potential of the installed capacity would be 380 crores, and BLDC operating margin would be 14%. You asked on key commodities. The steel, aluminium and copper content in the BOM are the commodities we use in BLDC motor. The commodity content will be around 45%. The company has a pass-through mechanism with all the customers on a quarterly basis. The import content in the BOM is 26%. BLDC unit price realization for a full fan motor, now we charge around $20.3. And for a motor assembly, it is $17.5, and for an electronic PCB, it is $6. Regarding IoT future, Igarashi Electronic R&D team have already developed the IoT technology and the underlay solution for decorative, premium and super premium fans. Currently, Igarashi has already launched 4 premium models with Crompton, and 2 more variants is under development for Avels. The term IoT or Internet of Things refers to the collective network or connected devices and the technology that facilitates communication between devices and the cloud as well as between devices themselves. On the cost of production for BLDC, Igarashi launched BLDC program in 2019 and we have populated 750K till 22. The primary reason for the current poor performance is primarily due to the learning curve for any new program that would take place for any industry, and the reliable electronic component shortages which shot the prices by 2x due to pandemic and geopolitical tension. We expect this electronic components availability supply chain issue to ease out from this second half of this year, and we are confident that we would be realizing 14 to 15% operating profit in the business from next year onwards. On the ESDM, Igarashi has a realizable capacity of 2 million for meeting the requirement of BLDC controllers and drivers to our current fan manufacturers. With the transition of energy efficient standard and exponential growth, Igarashi, we intend to double the capacity this year with 5 crore investment. And our in-house R&D team have over a decade experience in product development in BLDC segment, have fully established both hard and software to facilitate design and development of BLDC motor controller for ceiling fan, TPW fan, cooler, pump, and as well as EV controller for the automotive. I think with this, I have completed the BLDC segment of the business. Now I move to the CAM segment. Two shareholders, Samir Javeri and Anand Shenoy, we have 4 queries. Sir, Agile, what happened, what the business, is it growing? Sir, 2018 Igarashi Motors acquired Agile Export Division, comprising of comfort actuator motors, sub-assemblies and vertical integrated facilities. All these CAM and sub-assembly programs are contract manufacturing and built to customer print, addressing comfort body systems applications such as seat, window lift, motor and fuel pump sub-assembly to global players such as Inteva, Vitesco, BorgWarner and Bosch. In domestic market, during the current year, we have added DY Auto India and Aditya Auto in FY23 for sub-assemblies addressing window lift program. Currently, we have a capacity of 12 million and the capacity utilization is around 52%. The company realized 152 crores from this facility, representing 28% of the overall revenue in FY22. The revenue is likely to grow at a CAGR of 8% in the coming years. We are making operating margin of 14% in steady state business, and with the capacity available, we don't foresee any further capex to be incurred in this business, sir. With this, I completed the CAM segment of the business, and there were a few queries on the EV motor development. We got 7 queries from 4 shareholders, Mr. Samir Javeri, Anand Shenoy, Nikhil Upadhyaya and Kesav Garg. Sir, our engineering desk have developed the axial flex motor as well as the permanent magnet synchronous motor for 3.3 kilowatt for E2-wheeler and 8 kilowatt for E3-wheeler. The alpha samples made and trial vehicle fitment and preliminary performance validation is in progress. And the e-mobility controller in the first phase is being jointly developed with Young Drive of China in the first place, and we have also launched the in-house development of the controller with our electronic R&D team. And this validation sample will go till, we expect at least another 8 to 9 months for it to complete the entire cycle. And the company is also in dialogue with the Vitesco Global for the global platform. This is for exploring the contract manufacturing opportunity on the EV segments, and the engineering discussion has taken place and alpha samples and bench testing are in progress. The potential customers whom we work with for the EV segment is Vitesco, UCAL, REAP, Work and MLR Auto. And the other motors in the EV segments are the EV water pump. Currently, we are working with a global customer, Ella, on the BLDC water pump. We are actively engaged for the battery cooling for the electric vehicle. This is the CCH program, we call it. And the SOP is right now 2025. And we have yesterday offered the commercial to the customer, and we are confident that we will be winning over the business. And regarding hydrogen fuel cells, yes, 4-wheeler EV, the hydrogen fuel cells are used to generate electricity, which in turn charges battery pack to drive the electric motor. But Igarashi, we are only currently working on 2-wheeler and 3-wheeler EVs, not on 4-wheelers. So with this, I complete my EV vertical of the questions. And I have 13 queries on the bookkeeping. of the questions on the annual report. This is from Samir Javeri, Anand Shenoy, Nikhil Upadhyaya, Mr. Rangan, and Kesav Garg. And the capital employed in the business, today stands at 482 crores. And whether the target revenue of FY26 more exceed 1,000 crores, and whether 20% margin is possible. Sir, we with our midterm business plan in hand, we see definitely over 1,000 crores we will make in FY26. And our steady state margin, we always stated that we will be between 14 to 16% would be our steady state margins. And the 20% margin is primarily because of two counts. One is we have an opportunity of charging technical engineering fees whenever we launch a new program with our global tire player, global auto customers. And also, you also have an export incentive of 2%. All these have been dispensed with as far as we are concerned. So the steady state margin, I would register that it will be between 15 and 16% is what you could expect from us, sir. And why is the decline, the operating margin declined from 23.6 in FY18 to 8.3? So our steady margin, as I said, it will be between 15 to 16%. Due to global automotive slowdown, now we had been impacted in terms of the capacity utilization. We are doing our best to see that how much fixed absorption to the extent whatever we could do, we do it, try to create PRISM program, NILSPIL program, various initial internal activities have been launched to ensure that the validation, the value addition costs are tried to be under control. And on the RM pass-through, last year, FY21, we had though despite, we have a commodity mechanism which is deferred in terms of the arrangement, because every 6 months we get the pass-through settled in our price. So, but the market went on a one-side wave during the last year. Despite the mechanism, we have to lose 5% on the gross margin. And that's one of the reasons why you see the operating margin had been low during the last year. But we expect going forward with the commodity heat getting settled down, we expect the normal margin to get settled. So we expect 13 to 14% margin to begin with, and going to 15 to 16% margin surely in the coming years. And there was a question on quality cost expenses is a sizable number. Could you explain what is the cost related to? The customer quality cost represents just the warranty provision we have done last year, which is 0.83%. This is something which we keep as a prudent measure in terms of the accounting practice to take care of any sorting that might happen in the pipeline, because we are mass manufacturers. So we learned it through the experience curve that we need to provide for some warranty provisions. So that is a provision that has been created, and we keep revisiting the provisions depending on what the actual quality cost that might come forth with. Then the other question that came in was there was a capex of 38 to 40 crores. What is being spent on? Sir, basically the maintenance for line improvement quality, we spent around 11 crores. And in one of the line, we did a modification. We didn't want to invest on a new line for a new program. We just wanted to modify the existing 3458 line to a 28 series line. There we spent 5 crores. And a new motor assembly line had to be created, where we spent around 7 crores. And because the IT infrastructure also added some NetApp storage and other IT hardware, we spent around 2.5 crores last year. And on the BLDC, we had to do some balancing because we had to do a lot of variants for the customers, where we spent around 2.4 crores and tooling investment around 3 crores. This all sums up to 35 crores for you, sir. Where do you see revenues and margin coming out to normalized levels? Sir, in BLDC, sir, we expect with the uptick in the demand starting from HY2, we feel that we should be able to come to the normalized margin, and hopefully we expect the China tension to go down and the supply chain. That's the only challenge we currently have. With any slowdown in any positive news in China will help us out in getting into better profitability and better revenue numbers in the second half. Will domestic revenue have similar realization and margin as export? Yes, in terms of the TAM. So we are building it from the same TAM platform, and the pricing are as equal to the export prices. So the margins would be more or less the same. And how is the customer revenue concentration, sir? For revenue concentration in Bosch, in FY22 against FY21, Bosch, we had 38% against 50% in FY21. Vitesco, 16% in FY22 against 17% in FY21. And Borgwana, we had 13% against 12% in share of revenue. Crompton, we had 10% share against 5% in FY21. Intava Global, it is 10% in FY22 against 5% in FY21. And others, 13% against 11% last year, sir. That way you see there is a de-risk that is happening and there is not much concentration with a specific customer. And what is the Hong Kong sales, sir? We would like to give you a geographical distribution again of the revenue between FY22 and FY21. Europe, we had done 18% in FY22 compared to FY21, 19%. China, we did 27% in FY22 compared to FY21, 27%. USA, we did 26% compared to 33% in FY21. India, we have done 29% against 21% in FY21, sir. If you look at export revenue, would that be only export of auto? Is there be non-auto export? Will also be carried. So currently, we look at exports for the automotive segment because the demand for the BLDC segment is exploding. We'll be first focusing on realizing the opportunity in the domestic market. Yes, we have the necessary infrastructure for taking up for the export market, but we will take it up in the coming years. And what are the measures that were taken under PRISM to improve manufacturing efficiency? Could you quantify the improvement? So PRISM stands for Process Engineering Inflection for Smart Manufacturing. We categorize the PRISM program under 4 categories. These is for like manpower optimization, process optimization, stage optimization, and cluster and line optimization. We have undertaken, the operating team have undertaken 27 projects. And I'm happy to say, sir, we have saved so far 62 manpower have been saved in the production line. And this number for the efforts would have gone bigger if we had operated at a little higher capacity because of the low capacity utilization. Our realization of our effort is not reflected, which should get reflected in the coming years. I think with this, I have answered all the queries of the shareholders, and thank you, sir. Over to you, Chairman, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chandrasekhar. For so clearly and elaborately answering all the queries. As per the provision of Companies Act 2013, company has provided e-voting facilities to its members through CDSL e-voting voting platform for transacting the business contained in the notice, which commenced on August 7th, 9 a.m. and ended on August 9th at 5 p.m. Members holding shares as on August 3rd, 2021, which was the cutoff date for the eligibility to vote, but have not cast their vote electronically, are requested to cast their vote through CDSL e-voting platform, which is available on your screens. The voting process will now be activated and will be available for voting for the next 30 minutes. The Board of Directors have appointed Mr. C. Prabhakar, Partner, BP and Associates, Company Secretaries, as scrutinizers for scrutinizing the e-voting process. The resolutions as set forth in the notice shall be deemed to be passed today, subject to the receipt of requisite number of votes. Further, I authorize Mr. Dinkar Babu, Company Secretary, to declare the results of the voting and place the results on the website of the company and also inform the stock exchange at the earliest. The e-voting results, along with the report of the scrutinizers, will also be uploaded on the website of the company and CDSL website. I would like once again to thank all of you for attending this meeting and was very impressed with the questions asked by many people. which shows the interest in the company. I hereby declare the proceedings of the 30th annual general meeting of the company as closed. Thank you very much for attending this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.